Hello everybody, and welcome to Greg's Vintage Workshop, where I'm working to store history one piece at a time. Tonight we're going to be taking a look at part 2 of the old 1960-ish Eico 315 signal generator. In part 2 we're going to get it put back together again, get it fired up, put it through its paces and see what it can do, how it's going to work, maybe make some adjustments. But I'm going to finish it. This is the finale, and I hope that you guys enjoy. Without further ado, let's get started. So I replaced every capacitor in this Eico 315 with the exception of the one domino capacitor that was in there, 0.01. It's not a mica capacitor, but it was dead nuts on spec, so I couldn't see changing it, but that's the only one I didn't change. As far as resistors are concerned, the only resistor that I did change is this one, which is the R14 1K resistor, basically coming from the rectifier tube and going over to the voltage regulator. Well, it goes over to it, but it's not like it's, you know, the only thing it drives. But it's this one right here. This is a 6K resistor that's basically like a cement resistor, I guess you'd call it. 10 watt. That one right on money. This is supposed to be 1K, and this is what it actually is reading. As you can see right here, it's reading about 5.4K, so way out of spec. So that one I installed a new 2 watt resistor. Calls for a 1 watt, but I put a 2 watt in it. So, not bad. That was the only thing that was out of spec that I could find. I sprayed all the pots with Fader lube, and the rotary switches also with deoxit, but not the Fader, just the standard deoxit. And I think from an electrical standpoint it's good. One thing I got left to do is change out the Amphenol connectors with B and C, and I think we'll be ready to put this thing back together. Going to add 2 new B and C connectors to it. I actually have some B and C connector covers too that I like, and I use those as well, and I can mount those onto the screws that attach the cover. Okay, so I've got the Eico 315 plugged into the multifunction panel and my electronic circuit breaker. And I gradually brought it up. I'm sitting on 118 volts, and all of the tubes are lit up. That's the smaller one. You can't see my fingers. I was most concerned with the voltage regulator tube, but it also has a purple glow to it. That, from what I understand, means it's working. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. There was no way for me to test it, and the fact that the unit was dropped hard, I was concerned it might be no good, and I actually have ordered one. So this is the VR150 voltage regulator tube. I had ordered one on eBay, and unfortunately it hasn't shipped yet, and I found out it's coming from California. So with all of the fires out there, I may not get it. But that's why I decided to go ahead and do a power up on this thing, since electrically it's all done. And the voltage regulator tube appears to be working. Of course, I need to check the voltages and just see exactly what they are, but at least I'm getting the purple glow, so that makes me feel a lot better about it. I've actually got the indicator lights covered with some towels so that I'd be able to see that, but I still see it anyway, so cool, man. Okay, so I got the new glass installed in the bezel, and I got the red line painted on it. I'll show you that right there. Looks really good. I got the knobs all polished up. I repainted the white lines in them with this Artistro white paint stick, and I think they turned out pretty good. So now it's just a matter of me putting this back together again on the signal generator. So I'll get that on and I'll bring you back. I was going to show you the glass installation. There's actually 4 little clamps that were held in with little straight head screws, and it had some sort of, I don't know, adhesive on there that was all dried up and rotten. So what I did was I put those in, but before I set the glass, I put a drop of clear silicone in each, right here, here, and here, because the casting wasn't exactly even anyway, and so the squish out wasn't the same. But once I got that on and I screwed those down, I went back and just added a little strategically placed clear silicone to kind of help seal it and hold it in place good too. So should good go. So one of my subscribers, he's the master, had told me that I could test that VR 150 to just test it as a 0D3, I think it was, and I tested it. It actually tested like 90% on my test, and the signal generator was fine as far as coming on. But I had already ordered a new one, and I got the new one in today and put it in. Wow, it definitely glows the way I thought it was supposed to glow. Now it looks much brighter in this camera than it does in real life. It's just a nice glow. It's not a real bright glow, just like the tube over here. This one's got, it looks hotter than what it actually is. So, but yeah, so I think I'm going to go ahead and keep the new one in there. Okay, so other than being back in the cabinet, the signal generator is complete. I've got the BNC connectors on there. I've actually got the RF output connector connected to the oscilloscope, and we're going to see how close this thing is and make adjustments if needed. Unfortunately, the glass is so clean and everything's reflective enough that I'm not sure how clearly it's going to come out, because we're getting reflections from a lot of stuff. But I don't know if you can see or not, but the dial is dialed on perfect with the red line I put in there on 0, and then the needle is perfectly on the line it should be, and everything looks pretty darn good. I'm pretty happy actually. And then over here, those are the down there, you can see those. So those little adjustments down there are the adjustments that we'll be using to adjust each band as close as we can get it. Now the way that you're actually supposed to do it is have another signal generator or a reliable radio that's exactly right, and then put it on a spot and then 0 beat it. But we're going to just hook mine up to the oscilloscope and get it as close as we can get it on the oscilloscope. So let me get this set up, and I'll get another camera set up on the scope so you guys can watch that. Alright, so I killed one of my lights to try and take some of the glare off. I don't know if it is going to help or not. I'm going to flip it on. You can see the lights that are on now. The lights are kind of a, to me it's just, they're kind of an indicator light that it's on, because they don't really light the dial that well, but they're there. So I'm going to let it warm up for 5-10 minutes. It says 15 in the thing, and then we'll see what it looks like on the scope. So right now I have got it on A channel and at the bottom of the range right there. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to crank it up to like middle of the range, I think, which is about 140 or so. I don't know if you guys can see how easily this thing rotates, but I mean, it's smooth as silk. So now we're going to go 140, looks like 140 to me, and see where we are on this. And we are exactly 140 on the scope. So that's cool. Alright, let's see how far off it gets when we go on over. So we're going to take it over to, say, let's take it over to, this should be about 185. If I can see them coming from the side, it looks like 185. And scope's reading 184.5, so that's pretty close. And we'll take it on down. Let's take it down to 220. Now again, I'm looking from the side here, so I may be off slightly, but that looks like 220. And we're at 220. Okay, so band A is pretty darn close. Now I'm on, for the multiplier, I'm on times 1000. Let's take it on times 100. And it's still showing on there. If we take it to times 10 or times 1, it's not going to be on there. So keep on times 100. And then the attenuator, right now I'm on 15. But you can see as I turn it down, it's operating properly. We put it on the max of 20, that's it. And move down to the minimum, and there you go. So attenuator's working fine. Alright, so now let's crank this back. We'll put it on about the middle of the B band, which looks like that's going to be 375 or so. I'll flip it to B band. Okay, and now it shows 370, 373, so that's not too bad. Let me adjust this scope a little bit. There we go. So it's 370, 371. So where are we at? Did I say 375? Directly in the center. Move it over a little bit more right there. And 370, 371. So I'm going to turn the B band a little bit, see if we can get it dialed in any closer. Get where I can see both. There's 374.5. 375 is 374.5. I think that's pretty close. So now let's bring it on over a little bit. Take it up to 500. That's approximately 500 on the meter. And we're 502, 505, 502, kind of bouncing around. We could be off slightly here. That's more like right on the line at 502. So, okay. Not perfect, but not bad. Alright, now we'll take it down all the way to the bottom of the scale here. We'll take it down to 600 and see how far off it is. 613, 617. So, not perfect, but not horrible either. Alright, so now we'll take it back. Now let's take it down to the lower end of the scale before we change to a different scale. Let's take it down to, it should be about 225-ish. And we're 221.7 on that, but again, I'm not perfectly on the line, but close enough. I'm happy with that. And now we'll put it on the C scale. And we'll look up there. Let's raise this up a little bit. A little bit there. Widen it out a little bit. There we go. And it says we're on 632.9. And on the C scale we are 610, 620, 630, between 630 and 640. So that's pretty good. Run it on up. Put it on either middle here. It should be about 1050. Should be about the right-ish there. And we're at 1052, 1058, 1052, 1058. I'm not going to mess with that. That's close enough for me. And then take it on over here. Go to 1400-ish. And we're 1408. Yeah, 1408. Alright, let's take it up to D band. There's the D band, which we're sitting right now. D band looks like it'd be about 4.1, not quite 4.1. Oh, there it is, 4.66. Yeah, 4.66. Widen it out a little bit. .219 is what it shows there. I'm sorry. It is showing 4.29. Where did I say out of that? Oh, okay, yeah. I'm looking at the wrong scale. 4.0, 4.1, 4. That should be 4.1 right there, or 4.23. I don't know if we can adjust that maybe a little bit or not. Let's give it a shot and see what happens. So 4.18. We'll call that good. Alright. And then the E scale. Right now on the E scale looks like we are 13.2, and 13, 1298, 13.15. It's bouncing around a little bit. $12.98, 13.15. So that's pretty much on the money there. Back it up, maybe back it up some to around maybe 9-ish. That's 9. 8.928. That's pretty darn close. Alright, and then F scale, about mid scale, it's about 25. What we got over here? 25. Wow. Right on the money. So I'm impressed. I'm pretty happy with that actually. So all right. So I think it's a good test. I think that looks pretty good. That's the best as I can get it adjusted, I think. So I'm gonna go ahead and shut this off and bring it back. I'm gonna put it in the cabinet. And we'll get that finalized up. I almost forgot. We need to try out the 400 hertz audio signal. So let me flip this back on. We're going to move this over to this other jack. And I've got the VDST that I got from Doug and Bob. You all know Bob. And I'm going to connect this up to it, these leads up to it, and see if we can produce 400 hertz audio tone. We're on. Oh, we're not on. We're not plugged in. Let's plug her in. You can tell we weren't on because the lights weren't on. Alright, now we're on. So let's go ahead and turn on the BDST, turn on the audio tone. Well, that obviously works. So I'd say that the signal generator is working great. Alright, so let me go ahead and get it back in the case. Alright, well, here we have it, guys. Another piece of history restored to its former glory. The Eico 315 signal generator. I think it turned out pretty nice. I didn't wind up painting the cabinet because the paint that I thought that I had that was going to match it did not match at all. In fact, it started to spray out black. So, but yeah, the handle's really nice, and she cleaned up good. She cleaned up good. So thank you for watching Greg's Vintage Workshop.